Past, present, and future. This is a story of how my past, including my family, my education, and my prioritizations, have influenced the career goals I have, as well as how I approach not only work, but life in general. It is also an introduction to the skills and personality traits that both help and hinder me in my present situation. And finally, it is the dreams I have for the future for myself and my family. Apologies in advance, I couldn't afford James Earl Jones, so my own nerdy little voices had to suffice for narration. How what I have done and learned has led to my current goals and how I hope to implement those plans as I move forward toward the ideal of a rewarding career. This is me. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Sandy. Overview. This is a quick overview of the topics I'll be covering. Note that the past and future are divided into two sections, near and distant, while the present is divided into four, strengths and weaknesses in the first, opportunities and threats in the second, and in the third, my current position as well as how I went about planning things, and the fourth being my current battle plan. The three remaining sections are the introduction and title page of the presentation, this overview page, and the final chapter, or what I would like to see as the end result of all of this. The distant past. Part of what I am is due to those family and teachers who raised me to recognize that intelligence isn't in IQ, but in the desire and willingness to learn new things and to push past the boundaries set by others or ourselves. The man in the picture on the left is my dad. He's a nerd. I get that from him. He introduced me to computers at a very young age, taught me to read before I reached kindergarten, and opened my mind to the vast potential the world held for me and I for it. My stepmom is the woman in the left picture. Though she didn't raise me, she may as well have for her influence on me. She showed that little women can be tough, that a single mom can make it, and most important of all, nothing stands in the way of someone who is determined to make a good life for her family. My gran is the woman in the picture on the right. She was my rock, always supportive and never letting me give up on myself. She was the one who taught me that the best advice is what you give yourself, by always asking the right questions at the right time. My pap is the man in the right-hand picture. He taught me that there can be a peaceful resolution to any conflict as long as people look to the similarities rather than the differences. He also taught me how to argue the right way. And he introduced me to hand tools while passing on to me his dislike for power tools. The center picture shows my alma mater, Susquehanna. This is where I learned not only the 3 R's, but many life lessons as well. Some of these include learning how to confront aggressive people without becoming aggressive myself. But more importantly, I learned where many of my greatest skills and talents lie and how to make good use of them. I have learned a great deal of other things from a variety of people in my childhood and shortly after. I have learned that you cannot run away from your problems, whether physically or through drugs or alcohol. It is far more harmful to those being run away from than the problems could ever be to me. Others have made these choices, and while I can feel empathy for their pain and for their situations, I also know that their choices do not have to be mine. I have also realized that at some point you must make the choice between chasing people and dreams that are constantly moving out of your reach and moving forward with those who depend on you or dreams that are truly accessible. then allowing the other people or dreams to come to you within their own time and on their own terms. The nearer past. I've held several jobs so far, and they've helped to shape not just my talents and skills, but my personality as well. They have also helped me recognize that no matter what the task set before me, I can do it as long as I put my mind and efforts into it. At the top right corner, fresh out of high school, I decided to start working first. Then school could come in the fall. At a KFC in Pennsylvania, I grew in confidence, found that I had a knack for inventory, showed that I have a delayed panic button, and learned to handle problematic situations. Within a month, I was tagged for a supervisor's position. Within 3 months, I had been trained for that position and was running the store. After about 6 months, I was tagged for management, but didn't feel that at only 18 years old, I was quite ready for that much responsibility. The bottom right corner, Big M, a supermarket in upstate New York, was where I learned that just because two different companies have the same name for something doesn't necessarily mean that the duties are identical. It was here that I learned how to stock shelves and that my height has nothing to do with how high I can reach. I also learned that I prefer to be physically active as well as mentally stimulated. Taco Bell is in the center top. I think that working here was where my obsession with food came from. I was constantly experimenting with my meals, learning what did and didn't work. I also learned that I can do fairly well at teaching others, even when I'm barely capable in the language they speak, and vice versa. Borders is the bottom center picture. At this warehouse in Pennsylvania was where I learned that sometimes you can work your way around a lack in physical size if you can think outside the box a little bit. I also showed that my size is absolutely not a determining factor in how strong I can be when I need to be. I also was challenged in pushing past not only boundaries, mine and other people's, but my own fears. Mountaineer Mart at the bottom left helped me to refine my communication skills and brought back lessons from other places as well. First, that having even the slightest understanding of Spanish is a huge benefit at times. Also, that being a cashier in one place doesn't necessarily mean you know everything the job entails in another. Hardee's at the top right, another case of working my way up fairly quickly was here, in this store in West Virginia. I learned that when someone wants you to take a higher position within a company, they are not likely to take no for an answer. I also learned a great deal about both management and customer service in general. The present, part 1. My strengths are as follows. I have a variety of skills. Some derive from my work experience, but at least as many taken from personal learning and life in general. I'm adaptable. I tend to adapt well to a variety of situations, and I think this aspect is likely connected to an unwillingness to admit that I cannot do some things. I was raised to believe that anything is within my ability, regardless of what I or others may think is possible. And despite lacking in size or knowledge, size can be gotten around and one need only look to Google for information. I have a love of learning, and I think this is what truly sets me apart. I like to learn, not just what I can find in books. I love meeting new people because everyone has their story to tell. I love learning how to do new things because sometimes the strangest things come up as being useful in a new situation. And of course, I want to learn as much as I can about as much as there is. If I were ever granted immortality, this is what I would spend eternity doing when I wasn't looking after my descendants. I have a desire to be challenged. I feel that challenges are the greatest opportunities in the world. Succeeding at overcoming one gives a sense of pride and accomplishment that comes from nowhere else in the world. Failing to overcome a challenge just means you need to step back, figure out why you failed, settle on a new battle plan, and tackle it again. There's no such thing as an insurmountable challenge, unless of course you give up too soon. I'm creative, not highly artistic. I don't have that natural gift that some people seem to have for making masterful pieces of art and music. What I do have is a sort of creativity that allows problems to turn into solutions. It allows me to see a situation, a problem, a challenge, or even a conflict, then step back and look at it from many sides. It allows me to take what I know, figure out what I don't know, and find a reasonable solution. Though some things get settled in a way that may not be exactly normal. Does such a thing even exist? I have a physical-mental balance. I like to keep a balance between my mind and my body. I know this sounds a bit trite, but I feel that the healthier you are in one, the healthier you are in the other. I enjoy those types of jobs in which I have a decent amount of physical activity mixed with a good bit of mental skill use. The perfect job would be one that would allow me to do both consistently as part of my duties. Now for my weaknesses. I have the family first mentality. This has always been and always will be one of my strongest personality traits. It can be a strength in many ways, but when working on getting an education and building a career, it can also be a serious problem. My family will come ahead of everything and everyone else, though with the acknowledgement that an education and a career also aid me in not only making a better life for them, but also in showing them the example of success. I have a need for multiple tasks at once. Or not so much a need, but it is definitely desirable and something that many managers are not used to. If given a list of tasks, I will work on 2 or more items at the same time. For some reason, I get things done much quicker this way than following things one to the next in order. Unless they are very short tasks, I can either lose focus or become too focused, neither of which is very good. I get easily bored. Without a challenge, something new to learn, or multiple tasks to switch between, I can get bored. This can lead to me becoming a boundless bundle of energy, which can get kind of annoying. But if I'm kept busy by others or myself, I can go on indefinitely, which is still annoying to some people, but managers usually like it. I have a need to move. I despise sitting still. If I'm at a desk, I'm moving the chair or wiggling my feet and legs or tapping fingers or pens on the desk. If I'm stationed at a cash register or similar standing position, expect the movements to be a little more pronounced. This goes along with the previous problem area in a way, since they have similar symptoms. However, if given some freedom to move around, or if others are able to ignore that, it's not too bad. I do have a tendency to overfocus with an important or interesting task, project, etc. I may devote so much attention to it that breaking my focus becomes hard and sometimes makes me irritable. I can get stuck on an unsolved problem to the point that while doing other things, I'm still trying to figure it out. Once the answer solution does come, quite often I can simply jot down a note and return to my normal cheerful self. I'm also a perfectionist. I know a lot of people will wonder how this can be a problem. It is, and it's a bit worse than you can imagine. Have you ever seen the woman who licks her fingers and attempts to smooth her kids' unnoticeably unruly hair? Or worse, swipe at a smudge of dirt no one else can see? Yeah, that's me with almost anything I do. Once I start something, I tend not to be happy until it's done perfectly. And that can be a bit of a tweak if it gets messed up or if I can't finish it or get it to my own standards. And the ray of hope is that I'm not nearly as hard on others as I am on myself. The present, part 2. My opportunities are the ability to work, which not only gives me experience in the workforce as well as adding to improving my skill set, but also gives much needed income. These are equally important to me, though overall I feel that in achieving my long-term goals, this will not be quite as helpful as the other two. Certifications. The current certifications I have earned, as well as those I am working on now, are important to my hopes of securing a lifelong and satisfying career. However, they will not be nearly as beneficial as the final opportunity I have. The most important in terms of both opportunities and short-term goals, college will help immensely in granting my family self-sufficiency, stability, financial security, and the ability to help others. My threats. Childcare, though not as much of an issue as it once was, is still a problem I face to a degree. Having registered and been accepted into the CCRC program and having found a good friend who can watch my toddlers if she's not working has been immensely helpful. I would be doing even better in this regard by having my own vehicle and license, as well as finding a few more reliable backup babysitters for those just-in-case times. Transportation is one of my biggest problems. Both in finding work and having reliable childcare, the biggest problem has been not having my license in a vehicle. I've passed the written test for my permit 4 times, but have so far lacked a licensed driver to practice with, though this should change soon. The old saying, you can't make money without money, has shown itself quite true for me. Many of the problems I've faced over the past few years have been due to a lack of money. But without the money to do much more than pay bills, it's been difficult to put any aside or to do much of anything else, really. The present, part 3. I am currently in the Spokes program, Strategic Planning and Occupational Knowledge for Employment Success. This is a job readiness program for those on TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. They assist their students in becoming ready to gain and to maintain suitable employment and help with any educational needs they may have, such as GEDs, college, or trade and technical training. I've met 3 engaging teachers through this program, all of whom have proven to be excellent resources, pointing me to further great resources, and have or currently are proving to be wonderfully supportive and annoyingly persistent in the idea of me going to college. In addition, they have been very helpful in my efforts to attain the certifications most suited to my goals. Glenn Casey retired before I returned to the program, but he was very helpful in making sure I could gain the Microsoft Office Specialist certifications I sought, and it was he who originally suggested that I might want to consider starting on the path to Adobe certifications. Heather Bain is the new lead teacher for the Marion County Spokes program and has introduced the program to many technological advances. She's been very stubborn about making sure that I'm able to get the most out of the program. She has given me advice and projects to add to my portfolio, including this, and has aided me in gaining more Microsoft Office certifications and trying again for the Adobe certifications. If you have questions related to technology, she's your woman. Dieta Hayes is the teacher who first noted my test scores and has since been consistently pushing me to go to college. She is constantly on the lookout for possible job opportunities for students in the class, as well as being very supportive and ever cheerful. The overarching goal of this program is to help people gain the ability to be self-sufficient. Their greatest desire is to see students gain employment and/or education that will help them break the cycle of poverty. And they are always overjoyed to see people leave the program to advance their goal of supporting their families. Job readiness, they can help you with anything you need for gaining employment, from resumes and applications to interview skills and mock interviews, even business cards and e-portfolios. This is absolutely just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many certifications available: MOS, Adobe, QuickBooks, customer service, and so many more. And they are certifications that have a real value to many companies. Even gaining just one or two would be a huge jump start, but with all that are available, why stop there? And there's also other training. While in this program, you can attend GED courses, which are right down the hall in Marion County. You can also take a few courses in typing and in other skills through GCFLearnFree.com, the WIN Career Readiness site, and several others, not to mention the nutrition services and the modules that are offered through RESA. Taking advantage of all that the teachers and program offer is definitely in your best interest and your families as well. Now for what I've done in this program. I've already mentioned some of the things I've done, as well as some of the things I hope to accomplish before I leave the program. However, I think a better understanding of what one person can do while they are here is definitely in order, to show that this needn't be a waste of time unless you make it such. First step is testing. As part of your orientation to the program, you will take a few tests. Your general education level will be tested so that they can help you find out not only your strengths and weaknesses, but the most beneficial use of your time. Another test you will take helps to figure out your learning styles so that both you and they will know how you would be best served in learning new things. Not to mention the various tests for certifications, but that comes later. This is where they got the idea that absolutely under no circumstances should I be allowed a single day without being told I need to go to college. There are multiple certifications. I've earned 12 MOS certifications, 7 of them in Office 2013, including the Master certification, 5 in Office 2016, and I'm hoping to gain both Outlook and the 2016 Master certification as well. I've received both parts 1 and 2 of the customer service certification. I've received a platinum level in the ACT career readiness certifications after a few tries. I recently gained 3 FEMA emergency preparedness certifications, and I'm hoping to gain at least a few more. I'm now working on gaining a few Adobe certifications around time spent on other projects. My resume, the most important thing you can do and have when you are trying to find a job that will support your family is your resume. Not only having a resume, but having it up-to-date, professional, and accurate. Having a good work history shown, generally applicable certifications to prove skills you have, and so on, is the best way to gain and keep a good job. My business card. A professional business card is very handy in keeping you and your resume at the forefront of a prospective employer's mind. This is even more true if it in some way shows the you that people should see. My ePortfolio. Another handy tool, the ePortfolio is a website that showcases your professional accomplishments, your resume, a portfolio of projects you've done, a portfolio of certifications you've earned, as well as anything else that will showcase the unique combination of skills and personality that you alone can offer the world and any company lucky enough to snatch you up as an employee. And I'm working on more. I have a few projects I'm working on right now, both in class and out, including this presentation. I am working on gaining my Adobe certification, starting with the basic Photoshop. I have also been looking into funding and course options for college, which more and more seems to be the right path for me. And I'm certain I've missed at least a few things this wonderful program and its teachers have helped me achieve, because there really is that much of it. Planning. I hate doing this part. I know a lot of people feel the same, trying to figure out exactly what you need to do, what steps it'll take, what resources are necessary, and so on. Then you need to go and get a backup plan, or possibly more than one in case things go wrong in different ways. Trying to determine exactly what those things are that can go wrong can be very difficult. Oh, and then of course, no matter how well you plan, how carefully you follow through with those plans, no matter how many possible disruptions you've thought of and possible solutions to them, life always manages somehow to throw you a curveball, or two or three. But this is where you can distinguish yourself. Don't give up. Don't give in. Tell life it can go take a long walk off a short pier and take its blasted curveballs right along with it. At least that's what the stubbornness I've inherited from my parents and grandparents pushes me to do. First, I figured out what my family and I actually need. A home. And by a home, I mean at least a small, cheap apartment for the next few years. A place of our own. A place we can be us. A job. Well, I would love a job that would use all of my talents and fit all of my tastes. Just a decent amount of income and a good schedule would be fine for now. Transportation. Getting my license and a car that runs well enough to get from point A to point B would be a huge step up. And I'm noticing more and more that this is really a necessity for my family. The next thing I did was figure out what I really want for my family eventually. I found that these desires tied directly to our needs. A permanent home. A forever house. One that we aren't renting and can be a source of pride, accomplishment, and joy for us for as long as we need or want to live there. A fulfilling career. This is the single most important thing I can do for both my family and myself. But first I need the education and experience to get there. This will set pretty much everything else in motion. Reliable transportation. When I say reliable, I'm not talking about a beater car. My preferred vehicle would have seating for me and my 5 kids at least. It would also give me the ability to haul more than people, allowing me the freedom of not having to rely on others. And it would be in very good condition, as well as from a model year before vehicles became plastic junkers once you have the slightest dent in them. Next, I had to figure out what small steps would get me at least to my needs and just maybe a little bit closer to my wants. A variety of certifications. This seems to show up a lot, but it is a very important thing. The more skills I can prove I possess, the better my chances will be to accomplish the ultimate goal of self-sufficiency. My driver's license and a vehicle. These two are hand in hand, and without these I've noticed that my job opportunities are so much smaller and fewer than they would be without them, or with them. It would also be much easier to handle childcare and other issues with these taken care of. An apartment. Well, I'm grateful to those who have helped me with a roof and heat and so on. Having even a tiny apartment would relieve a lot of stress for myself and my children. It would also give me the opportunity to set up my own workspace, even if it is a small one. Now the large goals. These are the things that will take a longer time to get to, and more than likely a good deal of time to accomplish once I start working towards them. This was the last step to being ready to plan my family's future. A Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. This is one of the best fields, not only for diversity and application, but for current and future job growth and potential. There are just so many possible careers, all contained in this one single degree. In addition to my current self-teaching on the subjects offered through the course of study, Not only the degree, but the actual classroom training will be a great benefit to me in attaining my goals. It also just so happens to be something I enjoy doing, which makes it pretty much the perfect option for furthering my education. Taking a minor in education and possibly getting an associate's degree in IT would allow me many more opportunities in this field. A house. Buying a house is a big dream and an important step for me. I would like one that gives me room to have an office and gives each of my children space for themselves. Even a bit of sharing would be fine, especially since the older three will probably be heading to college fairly soon. A yard, a basement, and a garage would be added benefits. My portfolio. Between my personal projects, projects from school, and work-related projects, building an excellent portfolio with a variety of items to showcase various skills would be an awesome and decidedly fun way to get my brand out there. I hope to be continuously adding to and updating this. The more the better.
And it was for service for 12. Oh.
My battle
And that's
plan.
what I wanted.
I think I got the term battle plan from my dad. This one is fairly general and simply encompasses a variety of goals. It is not the detailed plan of action for me. That would take a presentation of itself. However, this does show the basic goals I have for certain time periods.
I just had to have it. And then
The
for
immediate.
a good 10 years,
I want to get my driver's license, look at grants and scholarships, start checking into affordable apartments and houses, start gathering my current portfolio items and uploading them. I would like to keep up with my certifications and work on more items to add to my portfolio.
My sister's birthday is coming.
I would also like to check on getting my associate's degree in either graphic design or IT and get a job, preferably with a company that can work around schooling and possibly offers promotions that would work well with the schooling I'm planning for. And I'd like to start looking at cheap cars, preferably four-wheel or all-wheel drive. Within a year, I would like to have my portfolio completely updated, continue working on items and adding them to my portfolio. I would also like to start on either my associate's degree, whichever I choose, or my bachelor's degree in computer science. I would like to get a beater car that will just get me from point A to point B, get my Microsoft Office Specialist Outlook 2016 certification and reach the goal of Microsoft Office Specialist 2016 Master certification with it, and have my own apartment, even if it's a small one. I would also like to start saving a decent amount of money every month or payday, get a decent cheap computer, it doesn't have to be fancy or have a lot of memory. Within the next 5 years, I would like to have or be nearing a degree of some kind, have my associates and or be close to my bachelor's. I would like to have or be ready to start a lifelong career with an excellent company or possibly my own freelance business. I would like to have a well-running vehicle that holds myself and the kids and is resistant to being junked and can handle pretty much any weather or terrain. And I would like to have a decent amount saved up, at least enough to cover 3 to 6 months worth of bills. I would also like to start on an investment portfolio, have or get my credit and budget started on track, have bulky enough of a portfolio offering that I can be rather choosy on what I have in there, and have or be close to getting a decent sized house, even something smallish that I can either build onto or convert. This would be a fun project for me and the kids. Within the next 10 years, I would like to have a great car, at least 1 degree, if not 2 or 3, have a permanent home that I own, have an awesome job, whether I'm working for myself or someone else, be doing at least some freelance work either for fun or profit, have 3 of my kids in or graduated from college and the other 2 on track for it, have a decent retirement plan, be completely self-sufficient, at least able to pay for everything on time, every time, and able to afford vacations and fun trips for me and my kids. By the time I retire, I would like to have the money to retire. Well, by the time I get to retirement age, I would like to have the money to retire when I want, but the ability to continue to work if I want, and a job I enjoy too much to leave. I'd like to have a few grandbabies to keep me busy for a good while, a small house with room enough for family gatherings, possibly some money to travel to a few places I think would be interesting to visit, and a long, happy, fulfilling life with and for my kids. The near future. Getting myself and my family situated for a successful and happy future is my primary goal. The central picture shows my 5 demons and my reasons for wanting the world, so I can hand it over to them. Okay, maybe not the world, but at least a legacy that will live beyond my life, and not just financially. The top right corner is my e-portfolio, the showcase for my skills. This holds my resume, my current certifications, and a portfolio of some of the work I've done. I plan to continue to update this as I complete and ready more work and as I gain more certifications. I also hope to add a degree or 2 to this eventually. The bottom right corner shows the certifications I want. In the vein of continuing my education, I plan on getting more certifications. My Microsoft Office Specialist Outlook 2016, the final one to gain my master for 2016, a few Adobe certifications, and possibly a few more of the certifications FEMA offers. The bottom left shows a vehicle, and this particular vehicle would be my ideal vehicle: 4-wheel drive, enough seats for my children and I, and hauling capacity. Top left is Fairmont State University in Pierpont. This is where I plan to go for college. This would truly be the biggest key to my success in the future. The distant future. My greatest goal is to be able to do what I love while supporting my family and helping them reach that same goal. The bottom left corner shows binary code. This is the sort of work I'd like to do when I grow up. Programming in any capacity, really. My ideal would be to freelance, however, that is a dream few can realize. I would be content with working for a company that could somehow put all of my skills to use in some way. Above it and to the left is a schoolhouse. I would love to put my knowledge and skills to use in more than just practical ways. Teaching hasn't always been a dream of mine, but thanks to the teachers I've known, past and present, and probably future, I understand that knowledge is only truly good if it is passed on, even if it is volunteer work as a tutor or in places such as adult education. I've found I enjoy seeing that moment of perfect clarity that hits someone's eyes when they get it. I can't be too bad at it either. I've taught 3 toddlers to sing Frere Jacques. The top right corner is a family tree. Notice that I've left a lot of room for additions. Once they graduate and get their lives on track for success, I'm hoping my kids will give me grandbabies to spoil and to give them a taste of their own medicine. Center top is graduation caps. Note that there are 6 of these. I have every intention of making sure that I graduate college and that all 5 of my kids do so too. Finally, at the bottom right is a cozy little cottage, a comfortable home with enough room for my family to be happy in for the rest of our lives. A yard big enough for them to run and play in, a garage big enough for a good vehicle and maybe a workshop, and a basement that can be used for storage and maybe a rec room. Family time, workspace, and cozy sleeping arrangements would make the perfect setting for happiness. The final chapter. My final hope is that in future generations I will be looked back on as fondly as I look back on my predecessors, and it wouldn't hurt to be able to retire someone that only sees snow in the mountains. This would be an awesome place to retire. Or maybe I'd travel the world given enough money, college, a good job in investing, as well as a good retirement plan and savings. Maybe I'll get lucky and be able to create something that earns royalties, or even better, maybe own my own business. Realistically though, not having to rely on Social Security to barely scrape by on, if that, would be a great thing, even if I do stick with the hills and the snow.